Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at Voyager class ApeFace from Transformers Siege War for Cybertron Trilogy. This guy is from the newest wave, which I want to say is wave 5? 4? I think it's 5. I'm not 100%. I think he's the only Voyager in this wave. If we take a look on the back, doesn't really advertise anybody else. It always shows off. Was this guy's name Warhammer? No, Smashdown. Where do you get Warhammer's a game? Anyway, Smashdown. He's always shown as the Battle Master, but we see ApeFace's robot mode, we see the jet mode, we see the ape mode. So he is a triple changer, and he is a Headmaster because he was a Headmaster in the original G1. So they used the Titan's Return gimmick, incorporated that into Siege, which is pretty cool. So those gimmicks are never quite dead. They can always pop back up again. Hoping this means we eventually get a Snapdragon as well. But artwork on the side here, very cool. Like that quite a bit. And that's pretty much it for the packaging. So let's go ahead and get him out of there and we'll take a closer look. So here is ApeFace out of the packaging. And off the bat, I think he looks pretty good. He's got a little bit of a kibble situation going on here in the back. But I will say, I think in the packaging, he was a little mistransformed. And once I got him out of the packaging, played with him a little bit, and did a transformation back and forth a couple times, I think I figured him out. So I think he's good now. He has this big wing shield kind of thing, and you can kind of put this on however you like. Actually, I kind of like that better. But it's actually nice. It is all painted on this translucent blue piece of plastic. So it looks great, but it's definitely this like burgundy, maroonish paint on a completely translucent blue piece of plastic. But again, it looks good. I'm going to put this off to the side for the moment. Also, you can see he's got this kind of very standard little gun. Nothing too amazing, but it gets the job done. Pretty standard little blaster, but I think it looks cool. I like it. He does have the like chest plate like a Headmaster would to flip down and reveal the tech specs, but of course he doesn't have those 3 meters or anything like that. But he looks good. The Decepticon symbol on the chest looks great. The head looks really good. You can see he's got some like worn metal battle damage on the shoulders. He's definitely got a ton on his shins. But that's pretty well, that's not true. On the what will be the nose cone of the jet. But other than that, I think he's pretty good as far as that worn paint for like battle damage effect. He doesn't have, I mean, he's got decent heels, but I feel like because of how like thick his legs are, the heels could be a little longer, but he doesn't really fall over that bad, so it's pretty good. Now, I don't know if the directions actually want you to do this or it's just how he was in the packaging, but this like gorilla head was kind of hanging down here by his butt. You could do that, but it does tuck pretty easily into this like jet piece up here. So, and then if you want, you can kind of tuck this down. So however you want to do it, he's going to have some back/butt kibble no matter what you do. And you can see that this has little tabs that peg into the wings here. So no matter what you do, he's going to have some kibble, but for the most part, I think he looks good. The head is a Headmaster. I'll get to that in a minute, but it can look side to side. Kind of a little bit of up and down. It's a ball joint, like a typical Titan Master Headmaster. He's got swivel here in the elbow. The shoulder. He's got swivel here in the shoulder, out to the side. Bicep swivel. Then here's the elbow. The hand rotates into the forearm, so no swivel in the wrist. Not really anything in the waist either, but he's got kick to the front, a little bit to the back. Yeah, he does. It doesn't look like he has it, but you can see there, the purple just really fits flush. Like, that's really cool, actually. Like, you see the little bit there, so he does have out to the side movement, but otherwise it looks pretty flush. That's pretty cool, actually. He does have a thigh swivel as well. 90 degrees in the knee, and then he does have the ankle tilt, which this line is known for. So overall, I think he's got great articulation, and I think the robot mode looks solid, even with the kind of back and butt kibble, I don't think it's a problem. But let's take a look at the Headmaster. So the Headmaster just lifts out of there pretty easily. You can see he's got really nice paint for the silver face mask as well as the red visor of his eyes, which is really cool. Now if you turn it around, this is part of the ape head. So in the original toy it was the whole ape head, but in this one they do kind of the visor for the ape eye, and then this fits into that ape head that you saw me pull out of the back of the jet. So otherwise when you transform this, his legs, I don't think they ever really moved. I think it was always one solid piece, but the face is on the back of his feet, and then the ape head is actually on his back. And then you will rotate the head around 180 degrees, and you can see the super tiny little head. Now you will see that the arms are a little thicker than usual. See how they have this kind of extra panel here? Right up here, this ridge. I'm not really sure why that was done. I guess just to have like the legs kind of fit into it to make it seem like a more solid head, because of how, instead of presenting this part, since they were presenting the other part, they wanted to kind of make it look a little bit more uniform. Either way, it's nicely painted. All the faces are nicely painted. Even the little tiny guy's head looks really nice. So yeah, I think the Headmaster looks good. It's pretty much Titan's Return, so you should be able to use any Titan's Return Headmaster up there. I really wish, I don't have it handy, but I wish I had the ApeFace head from Titan's Return, because I would totally pop that in there to see how it looks. But unfortunately, I don't have it handy. It's in storage. It's, I only have so much room, but I think this guy looks good, and any other Titan's Return Headmaster should be able to fit up on the body. I think this guy's honestly better painted than most of the Titan's Return guys that we got. So I think he looks really good. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get into some transformations here. I guess we're going to start with the ape. The directions have you go from the robot to the ape and then from the ape to the jet. So I'll do the same just for simplicity's sake. I've removed the gun, the shield, and the Headmaster. Just going to put that off to the side for now. Going to start by rotating the hands into the forearms like that. You're going to come around to the hands, and you're actually going to bring these around, and you'll see that there's actually a joint inside here, inside the forearm bicep area, so that you can actually bring this around, and you can see this tab right here, and that's going to peg into that tab slot right there. And so, boom, you're going to fold the arms in just like that. So I'll do it on the other side so you can see that again. Bring it around, peg that in, and then there you go. Now I think there is a tab inside here. You can see that there is kind of that tab right there, and then that's going to tab into this white part. So that should come down and tab into, where is it? Maybe it's in the black, maybe it's in the purple part, I can't remember. But it is going to tab in. I just have to find the spot. But while you're doing that, you can bring all of this down like this. You're going to unhook. You'll see that there is a tab. You can see right there on the back of that little foot and then the wing. So you can just kind of bring this down just to get out of the way for a moment. Like this. And then you're going to untab. You can see that there's a tiny little peg right there that you just have to undo to bring this forward. And now let me find out where this goes. I swear there's a tab. Alright, let me take a closer look at this because I don't want to get it wrong. Alright, so I was definitely overthinking it. There is a little spot right here on the inside of the purple part of the arm. Right there. And that's what tabs into the black part. So you really just push this against that and it just stays tight against it like that. So yeah, I knew I saw it and I was definitely overthinking it. But so you just kind of leave these forward like this. You're going to come to, I think you actually bring this back up now once that's all cleared. And you're actually going to push these closer to the body like that. So then that's going to sit up there. And then you can kind of sit this back in here for a time like I showed you before. You have these tabs that fit into these spots. And then in here there's a little spot that this light blue tab is going to go. So you can kind of just rock this back for now. You're going to have to play with it again later, but you can put it in here for now if you want to. You can see how, because when the wings aren't pulled out, this doesn't quite reach anymore. So you're just going to peg that one in. Anyway, you're going to come down here to the legs. You're going to fold up these toes like this. You're going to come around down here, and you're going to have to, there's another little peg, very similar to the peg that was on the inside of the arms over here. So you're going to have to kind of pull this part of the foot down as you rotate this section all the way out like that. And you can see there is the tiny peg that I was talking about, and that pegs into, there's a tiny, it's not even this big peg hole, it's not this one. There's a smaller right there. You can see where my finger is. That's where that pegged into there. So you're going to do that with both of these. Make sure you get that peg out of there, and then rotate this whole thing around. And then this part's kind of weird, and I feel like it doesn't fit perfectly, but it does work. So you can see here that this is going to unpeg, and then this whole thing is going to lift up. You can see this connector here, and then see this tab right here where my finger is? That's going to peg into that little spot there. So this is going to come up, and then that's going to tab in there. But you'll see that the arms up here are like a little bit in the way, but you still just kind of have to make it work. So you kind of peg it in, and then this might want to come up a little bit, so just move it up a little bit. But that should peg in like that. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. So this is going to come back down now, like this. And then you have to bring these sections up. And so like this little lip has to get under here, but it doesn't like stay together perfectly. Well, this is staying together much better than when I did it last time, so hooray. So that's how that works. That clips like that, and then you can just click this back like that. So there you go. So you have most of the body done at this point. You kind of want to just bring this part down like this. Then you're going to fold out the rest of the gorilla arms like this. Just like that. Down here, you're just going to kind of pull these little feet down ever so slightly. And then at this point, you're just going to pop out that gorilla head I showed you about earlier. And this doesn't really like link in any specific way. It just kind of exists. So don't get too crazy trying to peg that in. Then you're going to bring in your little Headmaster guy. And you're going to put this part in the front, and that just kind of drops down into the ape head, just like that. And then let me angle this down. So, like I said, this doesn't really, I think this is supposed to clip on like this, and then this just kind of exists down here like this. So, like I said, it doesn't really click into place. This does move around. That the ape head's on a ball joint there, as you can see, so you can move that around. This just kind of sits there, so don't go nuts. But you got a ball joint here. Whoops, it's a little stiff, but yeah. So like I said, this chest part doesn't hook together as much as I'd like it to. It holds together well enough, but it's not perfect. But you got a ball joint here. You have a little bit of movement here in the ape hands. You can move the hands around a little bit. You have a little bit of movement in the feet. So it's not amazing. Oh, you know what I think I forgot to do? You can take this if you want to put this back on. You can peg this on back here if you want. And then that just kind of sits there. So there is the ape mode. And then if you want to peg this in somewhere back here, you can as well. It doesn't really matter. You can peg it into the side down here if you'd rather. I mean, like I said, it's a decent little ape mode. I appreciate what they did. It could be better, but it could be a lot worse too. So, I mean, he's got a decent amount of articulation. Like I said, the body doesn't hold together perfectly, but I feel like it holds together well enough. And he's kind of a cool looking monkey, I gotta say. I really like the head. The head's that 80s metal robot monkey head that you just love. I know that sounds dumb, but it's kind of perfect. Let me see if I can get him to actually like balance on his knuckles. Yeah, you can. You can. So it's kind of dumb. I kind of love it. I wish it held together a little bit better. Like this torso area doesn't hold together amazingly, but like I said, at the same time, it's not terrible. I just wish that held together a little better. But like I said, if you're just displaying it like this, it looks fine. I mean, when you go to move the arms, sometimes it'll move the whole section because the ball joints are a little stiff, but you can get it to work. And then he's a cool little monkey dude. All right, so going into the jet mode from here is actually pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and remove the Headmaster, remove the gun, and then we got to remove this thing, which is easier said than done. I try not to peg it in all the way because it's really long and it gets really difficult to pull out of there. And one of these days I feel like I'm going to snap it off. I probably don't have to worry about that, but I'm overly paranoid. Anyway, go ahead, fold the feet in like this. Put the monkey arms all the way back in, like so. You're going to pop that ape head into that. You can see here that there are two gigantic pegs and there are two gigantic peg holes. So if you guessed that you're supposed to move these back around, and you can see that there's a tab there. There is a tab right here on the inside. And that just kind of loosely tabs in there. What I like to do is fold these down because I think it makes it a little easier. Because trying to get this to peg in is kind of an impossible task if you can't get like a finger in there for leverage. So trying to get this to peg in there, there we go. It's a little bit easier if you get those side pieces out of the way and then you just kind of lift these back in. And then once that's pegged in, it actually keeps this together pretty well. You're going to slide the wings forward like this. This whole section will slide up, just like you were putting it back in to the body for robot mode. So you want to make sure that it lines up with that little peg that's in there. And then just kind of peg that into place. And that's pretty much the jet mode. You're going to take this. Now, if you would like, you can open up this canopy here, which is sometimes a little easier said than done. And then you can take your little Headmaster dude, sit him inside there, close that up. Then you're going to want to put this back over top. Now, it's kind of a pain because you can't easily get the Headmaster out of there once you put this over top of it, but that's what they want you to do. Now, they don't tell you to do this, but I like to put the little gorilla feet up as like little back fins for the jet. You don't have to, and the directions don't tell you to, but I kind of like to do it. I think it looks fun. So let me make sure this is pegged in correctly. I feel like it's not, but this just kind of pegs in underneath here. And there you go. There is your jet mode. It's not the best. It's very boxy, especially in this area. Not very aerodynamic, but I think it works. I've seen worse jet modes, usually in Cyberverse. But I think this is okay. Very reminiscent of the original ApeFace jet. Color scheme's on point. And ultimately, I think it's pretty cool. So can I get it to just kind of stand on its own? It doesn't really need landing gear because it just kind of has a flat box to sit on. But I think it's kind of a cool jet. So I don't usually transform back, but what the heck, let's just go ahead, take the gun away. This is what I'm talking about. You'll see how much of a pain in the butt it is to kind of wiggle this until you can get it out. And I really can't get good leverage on this because of where it pegs in. So it does come out eventually, but I feel like I'm constantly going to be putting stress on that on the outsides like that. But we'll go ahead, remove the Headmaster. Close that back up. Let's see, what's the best way to go about this? So we're going to go ahead and unpeg this and kind of just flip this back for now. We're going to pop down. And really, you should probably put these out all the way to the side. Pop these down. Now you can see here that you would think you're supposed to go like this, but you're actually not. You're supposed to go like that. And see this large tab slot over here? This tab on the side is going to peg into that. So bring these down. And then these will peg into that. And then you're going to come back around to here, and then you just have to fold these all the way back around, and then just make sure that that little peg gets in where he's supposed to go. And if it helps you, you can always fold this down and then use the ankle tilt. But this will peg in, and then this little peg hole right there will peg in there. So if you want to flip down the toe, and then pop that ankle tilt out to the side to help you rotate this around. This will peg in, and then this will peg in there. And then you have your legs pretty much done. At this point, you can, I would just let that flop down, pull these away from the body. You just kind of pull them straight out, just like that. Then you're going to unpeg this, undo the arms, bring that all the way back around, flip out your hand, repeat that over here, bring that all the way around, flip out your arm like that. You're going to fold up the two little feet. These should be already pegged into place from the vehicle mode, but just make sure that they're still good. Then you'll bring this around, and this little tab spot right there will peg into that little tab right there. So bring this up, and then peg that in. Do the same on this side. Peg that in. And then at this point, you can bring this up, and that should click into there, while this then clicks into there. And you'll see that you basically have the robot mode done. You can go ahead and deploy your ankle tilt. Take your Headmaster, and then you're going to want to peg that right in there. Bring the camera up, and then we'll give him his gun, and we'll give him his shield. And there you go. We have the robot mode. So I actually really like ApeFace. I remember when I first saw pictures online, I was super stoked. This is a character that really hasn't seen a lot of love since the original G1 days. I'm trying to think if we got anything for ApeFace before the little Headmaster and Titan's Return, and that's not saying much. In any case, this guy's pretty solid. He's got 3 modes. I definitely think the robot mode is probably the best out of the 3. The gorilla mode's not bad. Like I said, it's kind of wonky, but in a fun way, if that makes sense. When I was first transforming it, the torso wasn't really holding together as well as I'd like, and I was getting a little disappointed, but you just have to kind of play with it a little bit. You kind of have to get the feel of this one, because the transformation is a little unconventional. It fits together a little goofier than we're used to, but once you play with it a couple times and you kind of get the feel of it, it's a pretty fun transformation. And the gorilla mode that you're left with, or the ape mode, whatever you want to call it, it's fun. Like I said, when you try to move some of the arms, sometimes it moves part of the torso, and just because the ball joint's kind of tight because it's new, but that should loosen over time. The shield is a little difficult to unpeg when you peg it into the back for both the ape and the jet mode. But again, I'm hoping over time that might loosen a little bit, and hopefully when you kind of have to hold on here to get a grip on it, because there's not a great way to grab on the front. I wish they had kind of put it in a better spot where, you know, you could get your finger underneath it to pull it out. But these are all kind of minor things. I really like that they incorporated the Headmaster gimmick. That's something they didn't have to do because they moved on from Titan's Return. But the fact that this was a Headmaster in the original G1, I'm glad that they put that in. And it's fun. I like, these guys were called Horror Cons back in the day, him and Snapdragon, because they were the only Headmasters that were triple changers, and they both had their third mode be a animal of some kind. I guess a dragon's an animal. Anyway, it's a mythical animal. So I think that's really cool. They went back and incorporated that, and the Headmaster looks great. The paint applications are all good. Articulation's pretty good. I definitely think this guy is worth picking up. And the fact that he got a little Headmaster in Titan's Return, but now has a full body transformation, gives me hope for Snapdragon and the Headmaster Juniors. I'm still really holding out hope that they'll go back and do the Headmaster Juniors. I would love, like, just sneak a Nightbeat or Hose Head into the Earthrise or whatever comes after. I'd be perfectly fine with it. There's definitely some nook and cranny characters that they did not do in the first Prime trilogy, so sneak them into the War for Cybertron trilogy. That's all I'm saying. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.